at 6 p.m. Eastern Time as we break down all the primetime games and more and get you a lot of picks on this show. We'll have all the Friday night college football picks covered for you, as well as football for Saturday and Sunday. So let's take a look here at our green room. We'll take a look at our cappers scheduled for the show. Joe D'Amico will be one of my co-hosts for today. Jeff Jeter, as we told you, he's back. NASCAR season is done, but he's here for some football. So we'll get some football picks from our buddy Jeff Jeter. Ron Zawacki, he'll come in and deliver some plays. And in the center square today is Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy will have an NFL for us. Chris Ruffalo will serve as my co-host. We'll do some rapid fire with Chris, and Chris will lock horns with our buddy Goran. Goran's ready to lock horns here for some European soccer. It's not friendlies. It's a Nations League, so they won't be too friendly in this conversation with Chris and Goran. And Brian Bittler sitting at the top of the board in college football. He'll have a play coming for you Friday night, so stay tuned for that. So let me go ahead and bring in my co-host, Chris Ruffalo and Joe D'Amico. We'll start with Chris. Chris, your take here from this Titans and Colts game. You know, they're up 7-0, then a drop touchdown pass. That really irked me.
Yeah, it's the early play that you normally wait for the turning point to sort of happen later in the game. It's hard to really say that a turning point can happen in the first quarter or even the second quarter, but you know, that's the way that game sort of shook out last night. And it was all right going into the half. You know, we thought we were sitting good with Tennessee, and then all of a sudden, the Titans just decided to roll over like my dog at training school, and it was not a pretty sight for us that had the Titans. If you had the Colts, you know, power to you. You know, you were on the right side of that one, but I think that kind of speaks more to the Titans not wanting to play a full 60 minutes in that game.
Yeah, that definitely does. Special teams error blunders there in the second half. Joe, what's the handle been like Thursday night as we're back into action? We did have one college football. What's the talk in Vegas?
Well, it's crazy. You know, basically we've got football 7 nights a week now, and I was on the Strip last night, and I don't know why. I just happened to go into a casino, and I went by the book, and the book was crowded. And they had a couple of games, you know, they had both games on, and people were going crazy and having fun. People were social distancing. It's not as packed as it normally is in past seasons, only because they have to social distance. I get it, but people are abiding by it. People are excited. I will tell you, I spoke to one of the biggest names in sports betting, Jimmy Vaccaro, and he's like, you know what? People call ahead to reserve tables and reserve booths. And we do that, and everybody loves it, and we're having a good time. So, but you know, the handle is good. We were in a few casinos last night. We had a really good time, but there's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of excitement, Tony, Chris, gentlemen, going into this weekend. You know, we're full force with all the Power 5 conferences now. We're full force with the MAC and Conference USA. We're full force with half of the regular season NFL behind us. So, you know, and then we're just a stone's throw away from college basketball. Looks like we'll have NBA for Christmas, hopefully. And then, you know, baseball's back around. This is a bettor's dream and a sports fan's dream come true. But people are excited in Vegas. The casinos are as crowded as they are allowed to be. And but people are happy to be out and watching ball games, making money and betting games.
Absolutely, guys. And I do a reminder here, we just found this out here, Chris. There will be a college football game on Sunday, as it looks like Cal and UCLA will get it on because their opponents had COVID issues.
Yeah, and you know, we were kind of talking about this in our little work Slack group. Mitch was saying to us, well, imagine that someone actually has common sense in college football, you know. Two teams have their opponents cancel out. Here's a bright idea. Have these two teams play each other. They don't have each other on each other's schedules. And, you know, we're not trying to lose any weeks, and we're not trying to, you know, miss out on anybody having we don't want anybody to complain that they didn't get their fair shake. So let's put these two teams against each other. And thank God, like you said, at least someone's got some common sense in one of these war rooms. And you know, I'm just happy. It's not often that we're going to have college football on Sunday, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's been a long time when we used to have those college football games on Sunday, going head to head with that Sunday game, and sometimes it was those Sun Belt games. I just remember a lot of New Mexico State on those games. Hell, Mummy teams were back in the day for some reason. A lot of scoring, but good to see some college football there on Sunday. And what's the college football handle? Is it still greater than the NFL? Joe D'Amico, I've been hearing that handle is getting up there.
Well, there's a lot more college football games to bet on, so you're going to have obviously a lot more handle. The NFL is still the be-all, end-all, I will tell you that, but I mean, when you could bet on 60, 70, 80 games over the course of the week as compared to 15 or 16 games, you're going to have more action. But NFL is still king in all the sports. We know that. I will tell you, I was in a few books last night, and there is a lot of excitement, and people are happy. People are betting. People are making money. People are losing money. But that's what sports betting is all about, Tony and Chris.
That's right. All right, guys, the drive-through. We have a lot of picks coming on the show, so let's go ahead and bring in our pick dog, one of our pick dog cappers, our veteran Joe Duffy. You'll find him at Pick Dogs Premium. Joe, how you doing today? How are things going up there in the ATL?
They're doing pretty well, as always. I'm not as spiffy dressed as the other Joey D, but, things are doing somewhat adequate. We're always worried about the COVID numbers are spiking here, but then again, where aren't they spiking? But, let's just get through the next couple, and hopefully we'll have a vaccine and we can get distracted by picking a bunch of winners tonight and tomorrow and Sunday.
Absolutely. And Joe, what as we move into the second part of this year here in the NFL, anything really stand out to you as far as looking at the numbers?
I do think that this is going to be a case where there will be overreaction. Regression to the mean is always good. Of course, there is some overreaction early in the year. What will be most interesting to me is one of the most overplayed angles. People think that a certain team quits because of and that doesn't happen. Almost always when somebody says, I think this team has quit in week 13, almost always that team bounces back. But yeah, with the uniqueness of this year, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see if there are some teams that mentally pack it in at the end of the year. I doubt it, but it's still something to keep an eye on for sure.
All right, yeah, definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Of course, Chris, those are some of the things you want to look for, teams that are heading the wrong direction. Of course, there's a certain draft pick out there. People are looking for that number one spot for the quarterback. The Jets are in line for that. Cowboys, there was even talk that if the Cowboys land there, of course, with the injury to Prescott, they can't turn down Lawrence.
No, they can't. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's another party involved in that, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And, we've seen it in certain sports before. I can go all the way back to hockey in the 90s when you had Eric Lindros said he didn't want to go to Quebec. And, even more recently, we're hearing that James Wiseman doesn't want to go to Minnesota. Some of these guys can control their own fate. And Trevor Lawrence is saying, well, maybe potentially he doesn't want to go to the Jets. He might stay for his senior year at Clemson. So, the Jets, it could be a long year for them, and you got fans in New Jersey and New York thinking, hey, we may get our quarterback, and that may not be the case. They may just have to go with the next best player available. So it's definitely something that we're going to have to watch and see. This is going to be one of those little interesting stories to sort of follow as the season goes on as to what decisions end up being made.
Absolutely. All right, we're joined here with Joe Duffy. Your pick here for the show. You're going into a nice little rivalry game here between the Raiders and the Broncos. And let's take a look here at the current line as it sits right now in this game that will kick off at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Raiders sitting about one book has 4 still. Some have 3.5. Total sits here at 51. Although I do know that the Denver offense has picked it up a little bit since the start of the season. But how do you see this one?
Yeah, and Denver's a solid team. And also, I think what just building on what Chris said, as I recall, the Peyton Manning kind of forced that trade. It was with Phillip Rivers. I think the Chargers originally had that pick, and he did kind of force that trade. Whether or not that's going to happen this year, we'll see who has the top pick anyway. But, yeah, I do like Denver here as an underdog. I'm not totally sold on Carr. He's been phenomenal this year. 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but I want to see him be able to do it for a full year, much less back-to-back years before I put him among the elite. So I think he's a little bit overvalued. Bad teams off of a loss. It wasn't a blowout. And last week, Denver did lose to Atlanta by 1 score. Bad teams coming off of games which they lost, but wasn't a blowout. 254, 152, and 5. Road teams off of a road loss. And this is where I think a lot of people, they'll look at a road team, they'll say, they're off of road loss, or they're a very bad team, good situation to bet against them. It's actually not. In those circumstances, such teams are 323, 223, and 11. And also fading bad defenses off of a win. is 154, 93, and 5. And if you combine the first and third systems, 11-1 all time in the history of my database, and in all 12 cases, the team was an underdog. The underdog won straight up, 8 of 12. So that says, maybe even look at Denver pulling off the upset here. And as I said, I'm just not sold on whether Vegas, the quarterback situation, is quite as impressive as it is this year. So I think they're a little bit overvalued. All in all, I do think this might be a classic case where one team wins straight up, but the underdog does cover the spread.
All right, we've got Joe Duffy looking here at taking the Broncos plus the points. Chris, looking here at this Broncos team, as mentioned, they have shown a little bit more kick here on the offense side of the football. Raiders coming off that win in the closing seconds against the Chargers. How do you see this one?
I can definitely see that the angle there. I mean, the thing for the Raiders is that they're starting to actually finally live up to some of the hype. We've always heard that, maybe this will be the Raiders' year. Maybe this will be the Raiders' year. And Derek Carr is playing as good as anybody right now. But I think I'm going to agree with Joe Duffy on this one because, Vegas is they're also in a bit of a look-ahead spot. I mean, not necessarily taking the Broncos too seriously. I know it's a division game, but they also have a game against the Chiefs on deck. And, just looking at trends dating back to their time back in Oakland, I mean, this is a Raiders team that's 4-7 against the spread prior to a game against Kansas City, and 5-16 against the spread in their last 21 games coming off of a win. Trends would say that maybe this is going to be a closer game, if not a letdown spot, a look-ahead spot for the Raiders going against Kansas City next week. So I can definitely see this one being a field goal game or just a hard-hitting divisional matchup, and I like the value of the points here as well.
All right, Joe D'Amico in Vegas. The public embraced this Raiders team at the betting window. I mean, you would think, a local team there, if you like the opposite side, maybe you wait till the last minute here where the public comes in, Raider fans come in and start to pound the Raiders and maybe get a better number. How's it look out there in Vegas here with the Raider betting?
Tony, the gamblers in Vegas love the teams that win. The Raiders have won a couple of games this season. People like them. They start losing, they're going to hate them. Trust me. I will tell you, I agree with Joe D, the good-looking Joe D, the better-looking Joe D. I agree with him. I will tell you, and I agree with Chris. I think that this is a tough division rivalry. I think the Raiders played a little bit above themselves. They caught a couple of breaks this year. They caught a few weeks ago. They caught a weather situation. I think favored them in Cleveland. And the look-ahead spot. I will tell you this. They beat Kansas City earlier this season, and I don't care what that line is. I'll be coming in at Kansas City to whoop them by 2 to 3 touchdowns to get a little payback. The Raiders are certainly an exciting team. They are the Vegas team, the silver and black, the winningest team of the 70s, the team everybody loves to hate or hates to love. And there is excitement about them here. But if they're winning, people will love them here. If they're not, nobody's going to like them. Take it from me. I moved here in 89, 90. The running Rebels basketball team was the best basketball team in the history of college basketball. A few years later, they couldn't buy a win. I'm going to tell you right now, 3 or 4 years after that 89, 90 team departed, I went to a Kansas game here. There was more blue shirts than red shirts. And I remember in 89, 90, you couldn't buy those tickets for $1,000 a ticket all the way in the nosebleeds. And 3 years later, there were more Kansas blue than there were Rebels red. Vegas likes a winner. As long as they're winning, people here will love them. I think they're in over their head this week. I think Denver catches them. And I think they're gonna get a whooping the next few weeks as well. I agree with Joe Duffy. I always agree with Joe. He's the best looking Joe I know.
There you go. All right, Joe Duffy, give you the last word on this Raiders and Broncos game.
Yeah, it's what Chris was saying, that the Raiders are finally living up to the hype this year, and it really gets back to it's kind of a cliche, but it does apply in handicapping. It is so much easier to be the hunter than the hunted. And now all of a sudden the Raiders are starting to get this love, and the people are thinking, maybe the Raiders could actually be for real and go deep into the playoffs. Like I said, more of the pressure is on them, and they can't sneak up on teams anymore. So it does get back to what Chris said. The fact that they are starting to live up to the hype, I think, really means that they're going to be a little bit overvalued and not so much due, so to speak, but that a letdown is very likely.
All right, Joe Duffy here on the drive-thru. As we're approaching the bottom of the hour, big football weekend. What do you have going on over at Pig Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, knock on wood. Like I said, 2020 has been a rough year. What I cannot believe, because I've had more than my share of bad beats, I actually had Western Michigan the other night, and it was one of those where I had to double check. I had to go into my sportsbook accounts just to make sure I watched the ending, had to triple check the scores on all the sites like I watch it myself. I did have Western Michigan, so hopefully that means the worm has turned. I am undefeated this week in college football. Hurry up, got 3 winners for tonight, and have, I think it's 7 winners maybe for Saturday, including 3 name games. And as of about an hour ago, they were all still up on the board. So hopefully none of the games will be canceled at the last moment. But yeah, finally in a really nice groove in college football. And I am ahead for the year in college football, despite being on the wrong side of too many of those, but finally on the right side the other night of a good beat at the end.
All right, that's Joe Duffy. Find him over at Pig Dawgz Premium. Why not pick up a long-term pass, that 30-day all-sports pass? Get all of Joe's plays, NFL, college football. Hey, college basketball will be in play about a week and a few days away, so be sure to get on board with Joe Duffy. You'll find him over at Pig Dawgz Premium. All right, Joe, as always, great having you on the show. Have yourself a great weekend. Big winners again, and we'll talk with you next week.
We shall, gentlemen. We'll see you.
All right, everybody. Joe Duffy here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, we got a lot more picks coming up. I wanted to talk about this one real quick. We had someone in the comment area mention the Minnesota game, and we did cover that one. We did cover that one yesterday, and I do believe we had. Let me pull it up here. Let's see.
I think it was my game that I had.
Yeah, that was your game. Yeah, you had that one. And, of course, we had someone in the chat asked about Minnesota +3, but Iowa defense here. Think about this one. Chris, I know you had a plan. Why don't you remind everyone the pick from that game for tonight?
Yeah, my play on that one was the under. I believe it was 58. I don't know if that line's changed at all. But, yeah, I was on the under for that game because I just see it being a game where, both teams finish the game in the 20s. It's a hard-hitting Big Ten style of game. 58 just seemed a little bit high to me at the time, and if it's still around there, it still seems a bit high. I do agree that Iowa's got a rock-solid defense, and Minnesota's underperformed this season by their standards, and comparing it to last season, which has a lot of the same pieces on it. But I still think that, this is a big game for both teams because they're both 1-2. A win here suddenly gets you back to 500, where a loss sets you back to 1-3, and then all of a sudden getting back to 500 at the end of the year and potential bowl eligibility becomes a lot tougher. And if you're at 2-2, you're one more game away from being on the right side of the record books. So I just think it's going to be a closer game than the spread would indicate. I could easily see it going either way, but I do lean towards Minnesota in this spot just because I think that the Golden Gophers, I just trust their offense more with Rashad Bateman, running back Ibrahim, and Tanner Morgan leading that offense than I do Spencer Petras and Mekhi Sargent for Iowa. So that's sort of where my head's at on this one.
All right, we got it covered for you here there with that contest between Minnesota and Iowa tonight. We will get to FAU, FIU. I know people in the chat room are asking for that. We'll also have East Carolina and Cincinnati, so those picks will be coming up a little later in the show. But now it's time for Joe D'Amico to front and center. Joe, this is a pick I had circled on my card as well. I really like this game, and you got on it here for the show. So let's go. Why don't you let everybody know the game you're looking at here? We're looking at Sunbelt action.
Well, Tony, let me start by saying, just in case everyone's keeping score, I won both my Monday and my Wednesday free games right here on the drive-thru show. Central Michigan, Boise State, both won big. That brings my free game hot streak on this 3 p.m. drive-thru show to 30-10. I've got another free winner for you tomorrow. College football, sports fans, sports betting, guys, is not a popularity contest. As long as you're making money, it doesn't matter if it's Georgia, Georgia Tech, George Burns, or Georgia Southern. This is a very solid football team. We're talking about Georgia Southern, guys, especially when they're playing host at Allen Paulson Stadium. This is a site where they have won 8 straight games straight up, going 6-2 against the number. This includes a perfect 4-0 this season, both straight up and against the spread. The matchup heavily favors the Eagles here, guys. They own the nation's 9th-ranked rushing offense, and they will absolutely shred The Bobcats defense, they are sorrowful, 88th against the run. This defense, we're talking about the Bobcats, they have been a doormat all season long. They've gotten plowed for over 36 points per game. Eagles, they got a stud quarterback, dual threat quarterback. Shy Works, guys, stud. Listen to these stats, 739 yards passing and 5 TDs in the air. Add another 474 yards rushing and 3 more TDs on the ground. That would be enough. But he's got a running back, J.D. King, named after me, J.D. King. 625 yards rushing, 5 more TDs for him running the ball. They are going to move the chains easily. They will score at will. Last week, guys, even a change of quarterback could not help Texas State from extending their losing streak to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. It won't matter here as GSU's very uncharitable defense. They only allow 19.1 a game. They rank 19th nationally. Some against the spread numbers, guys. The Bobcats, 3-7 the last 10 as a road dog. The Eagles, 5-2 the last 7 as a home fave. 6-1 the last 7 at home versus a team with a losing road record. 5-2 the last 7 in the month of November. Take Georgia Southern, sports fans, and you will take your bookmakers' money.
All right, Jordan Amigo on Georgia Southern. I'm with you 100%. When you look at Texas State, they have been through a gauntlet of a schedule. They give up a lot of rushing yards, and Georgia Southern can run the football. Chris, how did you see this one?
Yeah, I've covered a lot of Sun Belt this season. And, Texas State, they were the darlings early on. Going week 1 and covering that in-state rivalry game against SMU when no one really gave them a shot. They thought that SMU were just going to run circles around them, beat them into submission. And, again, later on in the season, you only lose to Boston College as well by 7 points. So this was a Texas State team that people are thinking, okay, well, maybe they're a lot better than their record would indicate. And they're, fighting 5-4 against the spread this season. The problem is once they actually get into Sun Belt and teams are somewhat familiar with them, that's when the Bobcats start to fall apart. You look, they lost by 21 to App State. They were getting 21.5, so it's a cover there. They covered against Louisiana Lafayette, 17-point dogs. But again, Louisiana hasn't been blowing any teams out this year, and they tend to play down to the level of their opposition as it is. Lost by 38 to BYU. 10 points not covering against South Alabama. Lose by 20 to Troy. This isn't a good Texas State team. And the thing about Georgia Southern is not only are they an option team that's hard enough to stop to begin with, they're one of the few option teams that actually pass the ball well, like Joe was saying. They have a quarterback that can actually move the football. They're not like your Armies or your Navies or your Air Forces that specifically rely on the option and their ground game to move and get chunk plays. They can actually, everybody knows they're probably going to line up in an option look, and then all of a sudden, you've got 2 wide receivers wide open downfield because the other team was selling out to stop the run. And then all of a sudden you're behind 14, 21 points. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Georgia Southern is a lot better than a 5-2 record would indicate. And in most years, if you don't have a Coastal Carolina and maybe App State or Louisiana has a down year, this is a Georgia Southern team that could contend for the Sun Belt Championship game. So I'm with Joe on this one. I think Georgia Southern rolls here.
Yeah, all in agreement here with the big Georgia Southern blowout win here. All right, Joe, as we hit the bottom of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Tony, sports fans, I went 2-0 on Wednesday night in MAC action right here on Pig Dogs. I'm going to carry that winning streak over into Saturday. I'm going to take it to another level, guys. This Saturday will be your best opportunity this entire football campaign to ensure yourself a winning season. Most explosive college football card I have this season. Guys, I'm going to read this. I have my coveted 100%. They're 100% this season. My early info moves. I've already got a ton of buys on those. My 83% no limit. My 71% very popular touchdown play. My 2-0 gridiron game. Guys, my biggest of the big. My AAC game of the month. I own this conference once again tomorrow. I prove it. I also posted a 5-game discounted guaranteed package. That's how sure I am. I'm going to sweep the board. Guys, grab a broom. Follow me. You're going to crush your book. Then Sunday, I have something very special. I didn't even tell Tony about this. Guys, I have my first game of the year situation on Sunday. Sunday night, late game of the year, guys. It is a game of the year situation. I don't have one of these every day, every week, every month. I have a game of this year situation. It's already posted on Pick Dawgz. I'm going to have two other big plays for Sunday, a big AFC total and a big AFC side. I will sweep the board there. Guys, I promise you this, the best big game hunter on the planet is going to bag an elephant for you this weekend. Follow me on Pick Dawgz all the way to the bank, guys. You will not regret it.
That's right, guys. Check out Joe D'Amico over at Pig Dawgz Premium. Why not pick up one of those long-term passes? 7-day, 30-day, all sports pass. Get all of Joe's plays, NFL, college football for 30 days. And, of course, college basketball will get started here in about a week and 3 days. So why don't you get on board now and get on with a winner? That's Joe D'Amico over at Pig Dawgz Premium. All right, continuing on the drive-through, guys. We're hitting the bottom of the hour. Right now, it's time for Chris Ruffalo. We're going to do our quick hitters from college football. That will be his picks for the show. We're going to get started here, Chris, with TCU West Virginia. West Virginia laying 3. Total sits here at 45.
I think, honestly, this one's just going to be all about the West Virginia defense. I think, TCU is one of those inconsistent teams. Yeah, you have a TCU team that's going to score 33 points in a road upset over Texas. But then they're also going to have their fair share of offensive duds as well. And against a top 10 defense like West Virginia, a top 10 defense is it's not just something that's going to come by every day in the Big 12. This is an accolade that, West Virginia's earned this season. And, you can say, oh, well, maybe they didn't have a tough schedule. There's a ton of tough opposition in the Big 12. Okay, well, maybe not Kansas, but everybody else is tough in the Big 12. And, I think West Virginia flexes a little bit of defensive muscle here. I think we see the Mountaineers win by at least a touchdown, so I lay the points of West Virginia in this one.
All right, he says take West Virginia. All right, let's continue on. Notre Dame, Boston College. Notre Dame road favorites are 11.5. Total sits here at 50.5. This is down from an opener of 13.
Yeah, this was one that I kind of struggled with because, we all know that Notre Dame plans on running the football, and, Brian Kelly, now that he's got his team into the playoff spots comfortably at number 2, this could be a game where we see, the Irish sort of flex some muscle. I'm going to side with the potential of a letdown spot here. I mean, you look at the last 2 times that, Notre Dame's really been in a high profile situation near the top of the rankings after, getting a big win. They've had 2 of the more noteworthy losses outright. I think it was in 89 and 93 or 95 when Notre Dame was number 1 or number 2 in the rankings. And they lost 2 straight games to Boston College and tumbled down the rankings after that. So I'm not saying we have an outright loss here, but a 10-point win for the Irish I could easily see this being a bit of a letdown spot. And it may be a game where you just see Notre Dame win by any means necessary and not necessarily worrying about blowing out their opponent. I think we have a decent case to make for Boston College and the points in this one.
All right, to continue on with Chris Ruffalo, SMU Tulsa here. SMU a point on the road, total 64.5.
Yeah, this I think was the one that I struggled with the most out of all the games that you gave me because this is a coin flip. I mean, yeah, SMU, we all know what they can do offensively, and we know that Tulsa, they didn't get here by no fluke. This is a Tulsa team that, yeah, they're solid defensively. They can also put their fair share of points on the board as well. I think I'm leaning towards the over in this spot. I can easily see this being a 38-34 type of game. And I think the side is just too hard to call on this one. Your guess is as good as mine as to who wins this game.
All right, we've got Wisconsin and Michigan. With Wisconsin on the road, laying about 4.5. Total sits here at 53.5.
Yeah, I'm back to being off of the Jim Harbaugh bandwagon. I don't even know if I was really on it. I mean, let's be real. The Jim Harbaugh bandwagon wasn't going that fast, or else I wouldn't have caught up to it. But, I mean, in reality, this is a coach that, for whatever reason, no matter what talent he has on that roster, just doesn't seem to get the job done. I mean, I found it was a statistic last week. Now, granted, Michigan isn't ranked anymore, but Michigan had, I think it was 8 road losses in ranked games in the last 3 years or 4 years. And that's, it just goes to show you that Michigan does not step up in these higher profile spots. I mean, Wisconsin, yes, they've had games off due to COVID. The thing is once you have a game postponed due to COVID and you know that the game isn't happening next, it gives you a lot more time to prepare for that next team on your schedule. make no mistake about it, Ann Arbor is not as scary when it's not a packed house. I think Wisconsin goes in there. I think Mertz is legitimate. I think this Wisconsin team is going to ground and pound their way to a comfortable win by at least a touchdown. And then I think the Jim Harbaugh hot seat gets the notch cranked up just a little bit, and we start to see Harbaugh's cheek get a little bit toasty in this one.
All right, Chris, Northwestern at Purdue. This is 7:30 Eastern time. Let's get the network here. This will be Big Ten Network here with Northwestern laying anywhere from 3.5. I'm seeing a 2.5. So that number there's some variance in that number. Total 51.
Yeah, this is another tough game to call. You have two teams that like to establish defense as their calling card. I think it's all about which Purdue team shows up at home. I mean, are you going to see the Purdue team that just can't move the ball with any sort of consistency, or are we going to see the Purdue team that locked down Iowa and had to rally, but they still got the job done and held Iowa to 20 points? Pat Fitzgerald, fantastic coach. We've seen him already sort of rebound from last year's debacle, equaling the win total after just 3 games. I think this is going to be, I kind of referenced it earlier, but this is going to be your typical Big Ten, hard-hitting, smash-mouth, low-scoring game. Tony, correct me wrong, the total was sitting around 50?
Total sitting at 51.
51? I think we'll be lucky if this game hits in the mid-40s. I think this one's an under all day. I think this is a low-scoring game. 24-21, 2017, 23-20, whatever way you slice it. I think we got an under in this game.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo with our rapid fire college football picks here. Give them some of the tough ones, the head scratchers. That's what we wanted. We wanted the tough games, and we gave them to Chris. All right, Chris.
I'm telling you, that's why I shaved my head today, so I could get to the top of my head a little bit easier.
There you go. All right, Joe. Any thoughts on any of those games? Those were some high-profile TV games we went through.
Well, I will tell you that I do agree with Chris on the Boston College situation. I think Boston College is a very game team. I think Notre Dame is laying a lot of points here, and I do think Boston College can catch them. Let's face it, Boston College quarterback is putting up some stats that they haven't seen since Matt Ryan and even Doug Flutie in years. The Wisconsin-Michigan game, I think if Michigan doesn't come back here, I think that they might as well phone it in and go play golf for the rest of the season. I will tell you that the SMU-Tulsa matchup is one of my biggest plays on the board. Can't touch base on it, but I absolutely love that game. The other few games, I do agree with Chris's points of view. So I agree with him on just about everything. I can't touch base on SMU-Tulsa, but I think that if Michigan doesn't come back here, then they can't come back. Then it's done. Then that's done, I'll be honest with you. Then you might see Harbaugh selling oranges by the freeway come next week. So, and really he deserves it though, to be honest with you. But I think that they have to come back here. And I wouldn't bet them, but I think they have to come back. There's some good games on the board. I think you put Chris under the gun. Some of those games are very, very tough. I'm going to tell you, Tony. I mean, you could have given him a couple of pushovers. Poor Chris. No, I think he came in with a lot of good angles, but and I agree with him. Boston College, I agree with him on a couple of them. West Virginia, I would love to give out my play on the SMU Tulsa, but it is for sale right now on the Pick Dog site. One of my biggest plays on the board. But once again, I agree with a lot of what Chris said.
All right, quarter till the hour, Chris. I want everybody to know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium. Oh, that was let's get Chris up there. There we go.
There we go. Man, I got handsome for a second again. Jeez, you're not making me look good right after the fact. I got my Friday Night Lights college football 3-pack tonight. Plan on sweeping the board as well. This has been a solid week of college football dating back to last Saturday. Even before that, we were killing it since the start of the MAC came up. We're gonna have a solid football schedule tomorrow. Guys, if anyone who's followed me knows, I have one of the bigger college football packages. It's the first time I've been able to reference a big package in a long time. But big college football packages, on the website, and for the same price as guaranteeing one of those college football packages normally, you can get 3 days worth of football. You can get everything. You can get college football for tomorrow, NFL for Sunday. If you even get it tonight, you can get my college football for tonight as well. Get that going into Monday as well. You're going to have the whole weekend's worth of football. You're going to be stuffed and stacked for the whole weekend. or get one of those 7-day or 30-day packages, because we keep saying it, and we're not just saying it as a sales pitch, because it's the truth. Those are going to be your best spots to get value. You know, a lot of the cappers on the website, you see them have their packages for $25, $29, $39. A 30-day package gets you, you know, your favorite cappers picks normally for about $10 a day. And that's going to be for all sports. That's just not necessarily one package. It's a multi-sport day. You may have multiple packages. You're going to get all those picks. So those are going to be your best value. Guys, let's pick up some winners this weekend.
All right, guys, check out Chris Ruffalo over at Big Dawgz Premium. Want to pick up that 30-day all sports pass, all of his plays for 30 days on the website. All right, I'll continue here on the drive-through. I'll join with Joe D'Amico. Now, I'm going to move myself here to this slot here because my game's going off in 15 minutes. FAU and FIU, it's time for my free pick. And I'm going to go ahead and take the points here at plus, well, I'm on record plus 9.5, but you can find plus 10 here with FIU. And we kind of touched this yesterday with Chris. I for the life of me, I cannot lay 10 points with a team that's averaging 16 points and 208 yards a game. It's just a tough ask for me to do that. I understand we did get Romanelli with the under. I'm a little nervous getting that low with teams like this because, you know, you see pick sixes, fumbles, punters, screwing up, you know, special team scores. So I'm staying away from that low total when you have teams of this caliber playing. But one thing to know with this FAU quarterback, Nick Tronchi, just 54% of his passes, 5.6 yards per attempt. Not a whole lot of passes upfield. Let's hope for a 10-6, a 9-6, a 12-10, a snooze fest. Maybe we'll throw a couple safeties in there to keep it there. But I will look here at the plus the points here. You can find plus 10 with FIU. What say you, Chris, on this one?
I don't think there's a strong enough drink to get me through this game. I've got a headache. I need some Tylenol right now. As soon as I heard FIU and FAU, I got a migraine that's only going to go away as soon as this pick comes off the board. I still think I'm with Ron Romanelli on the under from yesterday, and you know, as far as this one goes, I can't take even 9.5 with a team that lost to Jacksonville State. This is a hard game for a reason. I mean, you know, if we've said it before, they don't just give out money in Vegas. This game's on the board for a reason. It's on a Friday night for a reason because they know the people are going to have some action on it. This is a hard one to call for me. I don't know about you guys, but obviously not for you, Tony, because you gave the pick. But I don't know how about Joe, talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking.
Honestly, I think it's a tough game. I think there is a lot of points. If this line was I think they can play each other tough. So therefore, I would side with Tony. You know, it is a tough game. It is a tough game. Therefore, obviously, you got to go with the underdogs, and you're getting quite a bit of points here. 9.5. I mean, man, you know, FIU could certainly come out, get a score on opening drive or right away. Next thing you know, FAU needs 3 scores just to cover. I think it's a tough game. I think Tony's on the right side.
Yeah, all right. That's Joe D'Amico here at Chris Ruffalo. Joining me here on the drive-through, guys. Still a lot more picks coming. We're going to get that the other game, that East Carolina-Cincinnati game. That'll be upcoming here with Brian Bittler pretty soon. But first off, we're going to go ahead and bring in Ron Zawacki. I don't want to forget Ron. I almost did. I was looking at Bittler here. So let's go ahead and bring him in before I make another mistake. Ron Zawacki, how you doing today?
Doing good, Tony.
All right, doing
I
good.
wouldn't want to make it 3 times in a week.
No, I know.
Want to make somebody out on 3 weeks.
That's right. I know. I got corrected by Chris yesterday. But, you know, also a note, I'm going to ask you a question. You know, we were talking this FIU-FAU game, and someone on the chat, someone made a really good point about a game like this, looking to live bet it. Do you do much live betting on these games? That goes over.
That's the only. Sometimes that's it. Sometimes that's even better to. Sometimes games are better to live bet them than it is to actually. You can. And sometimes you want to live bet to bail your butt out if you got the wrong bet going. Right. You can find a spot to bail yourself out.
Oh, I'll throw this over to you, Chris. Your thoughts here on live betting when you look at a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can find a spot to sort of live bet and sort of make a profit off it, I'm all for it. I mean, a lot of times if you're live betting a game, most times it's because you're watching the game and you sort of see how the game is flowing and see if you see an advantage one way or another, or if you see how the game is sort of being played out, if you can get a decent number. But Yeah, I tend to live bet once in a while, and I think that's the key to it is finding an angle that you like and sort of making the most and stretching your profit out of it.
All right, Rod, you're going to be looking at the game for the show here. Oregon, Washington State, 7 Eastern time. This one on Big Fox. Oregon on the road laying 10.5. Total sits there at 57.5. Oregon was able to get past Stanford last week. Washington State with that showing against Oregon State, they showed a lot of good. They showed pretty good size in that game. Oregon State looked to me like a real small team. But your thoughts on this one?
For me, I looked at this game, and we'll get these crazy trend numbers out of the way first. The Ducks are 0-5 ATS their last 5 in Washington. They're also 1-10 ATS the last 11 matchups with Washington. And also the underdog is 8-2 ATS in this game. So I look at this game. You go with Oregon in that game was down conversion rate. They went 9 for 11 on third down, which was 1996. So that was real good. So that's something to keep an eye on if they can keep that kind of pace going on third down. Going to be tough to stop them. But I noticed one of the weaknesses against the Ducks was allowing rushing yards. They allowed 197 rushing yards. The Cardinals were able to rush the ball that much on them. And the only reason why that they actually got the cover in that game last week was the Cardinals didn't even have a kicker. He couldn't kick a field goal if his life depended on it. He missed 4 field goals. That's 12 points. They wouldn't have covered. So then now I go look at Washington. And Washington under Coach Rolovich, they're going for a more balanced offense, rushing the ball. They were able to rush the ball for 229 yards against a good Beavers team. Good Beavers D averaging 7.6 yards a game. And I think this game plays right into Washington's hands as the Ducks' weakness has been the rush. So take the Cougars plus the 10.5 as I think they'll be able to hang in there with the Ducks rushing the ball.
All right, Rod Zawacki on Washington State plus the 10.5 against Oregon. Let's turn it over to Chris here. I don't know if you're able to catch that late night game here. Your thoughts here, of course, Washington State with that quarterback, Jaden DeLora, here in his second game.
Yeah, I need a little bit of coffee for this game, but not because it's not going to be a good game, but it's a little bit past my bedtime. But no, I think Washington does have something here with DeLora, and it's going to be interesting because it's been a while since we've seen Washington State have a more balanced approach and sort of shifting away from the air raid offense under Mike Leach, and this is where my head's at. I do agree that those are some significant trends that for this game. The thing is that the teams change from year to year a lot of times, and necessarily if a team has another team's number, okay. But I also like to take into the consideration the fact that maybe the team's changed a little bit. I do agree with Rod that Washington State ran the ball really well last week, and Oregon had trouble stopping the run when it came to Stanford. Also, I think David Shaw, tends to that's been sort of his style of offense. That's what he really does. He had Bryce Love, he had Christian McCaffrey in that offense. So I think he's comfortable with a more ground-based offense. I still think that Washington State's going to take a little bit of time to really find their own here. And I think Oregon State to Oregon, in terms of a step up in class from 1 week to week 2, is going to be a bit hard of an adjustment for Washington State to make in this one. It's a tough number, especially going up to 10.5, because I liked it at 9.5 and I liked it at 10. I think that Oregon does win this one by 2 touchdowns, but again, it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be 13, 14 points at most, because Washington State is well coached, but I just like Oregon and what Mario Cristobal's done that much better.
All right, one vote there for the Oregon side. All right, Rod, as we're approaching the top of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dawgz Premium?
We still got Rod's Steak Friday the 13th. I've been 8-4 the last 4 Fridays. Fridays have been one of my bigger profiting days. I like Fridays. Brussels kind of mashed potatoes. I'm looking forward to big steak dinner. But your best deal is grab that 3-day pass. because for a guaranteed one package, you can get everything that I got for going for the weekend. You'll get Friday, you'll get tonight's plays, you'll get Saturday college football plays, you'll get Sunday NFL plays, and you'll probably even get Monday because I'll be throwing that in early Sunday. So you'll basically get 4 days all for the price of 3. That's your best deal. Grab a 3-day or even grab something 7-day, 30-day, something long-term. We got lots of sports action coming up. We got lots of winners for you.
That's right, guys. Lots of sports action. Steak Friday from Rod Zawacki. You find him over at Pig Dawgz Premium. That 3-day all sports pass. Get all Rod's plays for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And he said he'll make sure that Monday night winner gets in there by Sunday, so it'll be a 4-day pass. So get it right now over at Pig Dawgz Premium from Rod Zawacki. All right, Rod, as always, great having you on the show. Have yourself a great night, and we wait for the end of the show. I think we might have put Chris into a food coma when you mentioned steak. By the way,
I heard steak, and I heard mashed potatoes, and even Brussels sprouts. Normally, I don't get up for Brussels sprouts, but fried Brussels sprouts. Oh my god!
Oh no, we have to revive. We're gonna have to revive Chris in a second. So, oh my gosh, I made that mistake of
you put a little bit of.
Oh, good.
Well, you're gonna have double bacon to go with them, bro.
Oh, he's gonna add some bacon.
Double bacon.
Oh my goodness! All right, so Rod Zawacki, find him over at Pig Dawgz Premium. We're trying to resuscitate Chris over here. We have a mention of food here on Steak Friday. All right, have a great night, Rod. We'll talk with you next week.
All right. Have a great weekend.
And don't forget for his pick at the end of the show, guys. We recap all the picks at the end of the show, and Chris will tell you the plays. He picked 5 games, and he'll tell you on the close of the show what picks he get, and you want to stay tuned for that as we continue on the drive-through. Now we're going to bring in Bittler. The other game for Friday night is East Carolina and Cincy, and Let's go ahead and cue on our buddy Brian Bittler. Brian, how you doing? How's college? Well, we know college basketball is treating you fine because you got that victory dance going. You've been sitting in that top spot for some time.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's actually straight. But you know what? I got to go back to my roots. It's been rough the last couple of days, and I have a good feeling about this weekend. I cut down my selections a little bit to fine tune them. So I'm hoping for a big weekend.
Yeah, we're over for a big weekend here from Brian Bittler, so we want to get this game covered, so we'll give you enough time to get down on it. You're either taking us to the mortuary or there's some life for this team. East Carolina and Cincinnati here. Cincinnati laying a bundle here, 27.5 points. Total sits here at 57. Cincinnati rated 7th in contention for a playoff. But how do you see this one here against an East Carolina team that's been in some games?
This is one of my three premium plays tonight. You're going to get it. Watching drive through absolutely free. Love the Pirates tonight. They're 5-0 against the spread last 5 as a road dog. 4-0 against the spread on the road against a winning team. East Carolina last week gave Tulane, played them tough in the first half. Tulane pulled away, and then East Carolina had a covered at the end. I think this is a slow starting game here at Cincinnati. They got Central Florida on deck next. I think they kind of look past the Pirates a little bit. And, Cincinnati has been a butt-kicking team, but I think they get off to a little slow start tonight. And I think that 27.5 is just a little bit too much to ask for a cover. So I'm going with the East Carolina Pirates tonight, and I'm going to take the points.
All right, Brian Bittler says take the points there with East Carolina. Chris, we've seen Cincinnati make a lot of covers here, but again, they're looking at East Carolina. It's possible letdown after they've gone through a gauntlet and kind of beat some of the top teams in the AAC. How do you see it?
I can definitely understand the angle. I mean, you look at what East Carolina did. I was the victim of the East Carolina game against UCF earlier this season, where we had UCF covering comfortably near the end of that game, and then all of a sudden, East Carolina decides to call timeout, run a jet sweep, and next thing you know, the Pirates are in the back door, and that's not pretty. Anyway, it's like unless you're on East Carolina in that game, which a lot of people probably were, but I just think that the problem for East Carolina hasn't been the offense; it's been the defense. So, 27.5 points is an absolute ton. When you consider that, East Carolina, all they really have to do is put up, let's say, 14 points, and then all of a sudden Cincinnati's got to score 41. So, I mean, granted, it hasn't been a problem for them in past weeks, but, again, like Tony, like you said, this could be a potential letdown spot. Like Brian said, it could be a look ahead with UCF on deck. It's not an easy game tonight for a reason. I think this is going to be a tough one to call.
Yeah, real tough one to call. And Joe, Cincinnati's been a team that's been covering for people in Vegas, although we did see it open 26, and they're pushing up to about 27.5 and 27 in some places.
Absolutely, as Chris and Brian have said, touched on, this is a team that they're up for a playoff. They're a very good team. I think I've had them at least 4 times this season, one with them each time. But they do have a big game on deck, and to be honest with you, I think it's a lot of points. I would love to come in with them for a 3rd straight week. I can't, because there's a lot of points. They got a big game on deck, and I don't think they need to win this game by 30, 35 points. For style points, they really don't. I mean, they've decimated. They've beat up on everybody they've kind of faced, and they don't need to beat up on a team that they're already 28-point favorite on. I don't think it's going to prove anything, and I think East Carolina can catch them here. I think that obviously, Cincinnati's going to win this game, but I think Brian's on the right side. He's got a great angle. Plus, Cincinnati's in a big look-ahead spot. They don't want to injure any of their players here. Particularly come the second half. When they've got UCF up next. So I agree with Brian. I see Chris. Chris is getting a lot of points. Once again, I agree with Brian. It's a great angle. And, where else but on the drive-through show will top handicappers, leading handicappers, give you premium plays they're selling absolutely free. No place else but right here, guys. Brian Bittler.
That's right. Brian Bittler here, and you got him here on the drive-through. All right, Brian, we reached the top of the hour. I want you to let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dawgz Premium.
Well, I still have the total 3 games that I have tonight that you guys can pick up for $40 at Pig Dawgz. But if you guys bet one game this weekend, make sure it's my Saturday college football blank check play. You're going to want to pick it up at pigdawgz.com. $30 gets you my best play on the board tomorrow. And, guys, I'm riding this one to the bank. Write in any amount. Take it to the bank. It's going to cash. Love it. Make sure you check it out.
Check it out, guys. #1 documented handicapper over at Pig Dawgz Premium. That's Brian Bittler. Pick up one of those long-term passes. Get the weekend pass. Or how about a 30-day all-sports pass? Get all Brian's plays from college football, NFL for 30 days. College basketball, a week and 3 days away. So, guys, get on board right now with Brian Bittler, who will make you a winner from college football. All right, Brian, as always, great having you on the show. Continued success in college football, and we will talk with you next week.
Great hanging out with the best-looking handicappers in sports with these gentlemen here tonight. You guys have a good weekend.
All right, everybody. Brian Bittler here on the drive-through. All right, we're going to continue to roll on, and we're ready to bring in our buddy Jeff Jeter. Now, we know the NASCAR season has come to a conclusion, but man can handicap college football, NFL, as well as college basketball. We got on record with some football picks. Jeff Jeter, good afternoon, good evening to you. How you doing? Why don't you go ahead and recap the playoffs from NASCAR last week?
Obviously, I had that big win with Chase Elliott last week. Gave it out in premium, and so great win for him. His first championship, and so I could see that being many more to go. With Chase Elliott, and so looking forward to next year. And of course, it'll be here before you know it. It's starting out at Daytona in February, just after the Super Bowl for the NFL, per the COVID thing. And so hopefully we'll be ready to go. So,
all right, very good, very good. Jeff Jeter here joining us on the drive-through. Jeff, you're going to be looking at a game here. I thought it was a tough game to look at here. NC State and Florida State, and we'll get you an updated line here. I think it looks like at NC State here is laying 10.5 at home against Florida State. Florida State, this team has fallen apart. I know Blackman is looking to transfer. He was a starter to start the season, lost his job, so the team is kind of spiraling a little bit. But you've got give us your opinion on this one.
Yeah, and it looks like Blackman is looking to transfer, and I mean, keep in mind too, Carter Finley's not been exactly the best place for the Noles to go, even when they were good. I mean, over the last 11 trips here to Raleigh, I mean, they're 5-6 straight up. Dating back a long time ago, probably back to Bobby Bowden. But the thing of it is, you not only have Blackman going out or probably leaving the program, but you've also got wide receiver Tamarian Terry leaving. And, big injury as far as the defensive front was Marvin Wilson, because he's out for the season now. So, but then, Jordan Travis, backup quarterback, came in against Pitt. He did have 14 carries for 80 yards, but, he's day to day now. He's questionable, so it's just a mess at quarterback. So now you're looking at another backup in Chua Purdy. So we don't know a lot about him. And again, they're going for a road game. So now and then you're looking at on the opposite side. NC State Wolfpack defense. They're allowing 183 yards, rushing, per game, which is 76 in the FBS. So if Travis does go, they could make this thing interesting. But but flipping over, to the Wolfpack offense, 262, yards a game pass and 133 rushing. You've seen it all year. They've been surprising us, especially on the road. We were talking about it earlier, in the season where they just couldn't do anything on the road. They've been winning games. So, and then I kind of look at one thing, with the wide receiver Emeka Menzi, for the NC State Wolfpack, he, 4 for 95 against that Miami last week. And that shootout of a game, and so. He should be a factor here against Florida State, and obviously, tight end Kerry Angeline. He's just been a touchdown machine. On 16 catches, he's got 16 catches on the year, 6 of them been touchdown grabs. So, I just see NC State just having no problem, rolling over the Noles at home and scoring, bunches of points here, on Saturday night. So.
All right, Jeff Jeter says go ahead and take NC State. Chris, looking at this Florida State outfit on the road, man, as Jeff was saying, it's atrocious, allowing 546 yards on the road. I think I saw the number was 47 points allowed on the road here. It's been a tough go here for Florida State on the road.
Yeah, that might be the understatement of the day. This is a program that's had a massive fall from grace. This is not the same team that it used to be by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely think that that Blackman leaving the program is going to have an effect on this team. Same thing with Tamari and Terry. This is a bad spot, and you hate seeing it for a coach like Mike Norvell, who was well respected at Memphis, and he was taking a big time program job at Florida State. I think it's going to take a little while for him to sort of get his guys in there. It's going to take a little bit, but I think he will be the guy to sort of restore this Florida State program, but it's not going to be this weekend. I do think that NC State's going to have their way offensively with this terrible, porous, horrendous. Can you help me think of other adjectives here? Awful,
crappy,
terrible, crappy, stinky, butt ugly Florida State defense on the road. This is a bad game. I would not be surprised if you wanted to push this one up to 16.5. I could easily see NC State winning this one very comfortably, maybe even by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, we saw the line move. It opened 6.5 to 10.5, total 59.5. Some people may even look at the total in this one, but looks like all agree here, Jeff, with your NC State play here against the Florida State team that's just been terrible away from home. We passed the top of the hour, Jeff. Why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, just past the top of the hour. I did have 3 picks tonight, but hey, going to have you a big 7-pack for tomorrow, and I'm going to have some stuff split up throughout the day for college football. Obviously one of the best deals to get is my 3-day pass. Tomorrow they get you all the football for not only tomorrow, but also Sunday and Monday night football. And then, of course, my 7-day pass will get you, all the way through the week, including another round of Tuesday and Wednesday night action. So, looking forward to it, and ready to get this weekend kicked off on the right way.
That's right, guys. Check out Jeff Jeter over at Pick Dawgz Premium. One of those long-term passes, 7-day or 30-day. You'll get all of his plays for that time period. College football, the NFL, of course, college basketball, a week and about 3 days away. So get on board with Jeff Jeter. He'll get you in the winner's circle. All right, Jeff, as always, great having you on the show. And to have a great weekend. We'll talk with you next week.
Yeah, and if you're watching the Masters, enjoy. I'm ready to go. It's one of my favorite sports or favorite times of the year. It's usually in the spring, but hey, at least we're getting it this year, and so thanks for having me, and we'll check you guys next week.
We said so if you mention the Masters, you have to give a pick. So is there anything you're looking at on the Masters?
I'm telling you right now, I threw about Chris will attest to it. I threw 4 picks up in the Facebook group over there on the Pick Dogs Facebook group. But I'm telling you, I'm liking the way Patrick Cantlay is playing right now. And we saw a big surprise with Paul Casey, although he fell a couple of shots back here before dark here this evening. So, but I've got a couple of picks in there, and I like Xander Schauffele in that matchup over Justin Thomas. I got that one just in time. And I know Justin Thomas is tied for the lead right now, but I do like Xander Schauffele's form here at Augusta this weekend. So,
all right, we got some Masters from Jeff G. All right, Jeff, great weekend. We'll talk to you the next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right, everybody. Jeff Jeter here on the drive-through. Well, all right, guys. Now it's time for one of Chris's favorites. What else you got?
I'm saying if those are 4 names that are on a Jeopardy clue, and this is a callback to something we talked about earlier in the week, who are 4 people who have never been in my kitchen. That's quite possibly one of my favorite. I only discovered that Cheers bit a little while ago. I was telling Tony off here the other day, unfortunately after Alex Trebek passed away. But who are 4 people who have never been in my kitchen, and 4 people who I'm probably not even going to remember their names first thing tomorrow morning. But on to my favorite segment of the week.
It is. It's the English soccer segment with Goran and, of course, Chris Ruffalo. They like to butt wits here between them. Goran, how are you doing today? You ready for another challenge from Chris?
Good. Yes, of course I am. I just wanted to ask Chris before we started, how did Everton play last week?
Oh!
Shut up. I don't even remember. I blocked it out of my mind.
All right.
I used to like you. I used to like you, Gordon. You know that? I used to like you. I still do, but you just pissed me off. That's all.
All right. Why don't you guys give a little recap your thoughts here on last week's action in the Premier League? Of course, we did the Man U with a 3-1 win against Everton. We had Arsenal falling to Aston Villa 3-0, and Manchester City, Liverpool 1-1. Gordon?
Yeah, Manchester City and Liverpool, the first half was exciting. It was a good game. We saw 2 goals, but the second half was just a snooze fest. And nothing really happened in that game in second half. And I was so disappointed that it ended in 1-1.
All right, Chris, what was your take from last week's action in the Premier?
My take from tonight is that you just like to stick the knife in and twist it a little bit after we already got Goran's little snide remark that we already know Everton lost to United. No, but you know what? I'll take my lumps where it's due. Everton got a good start, and then all of a sudden everything just sort of fell apart. And it was kind of the way that I would anticipate a United win going in that game. They needed the win and flexed a little bit of muscle. But I'm with Goran. I thought that the Manchester City Liverpool game was going to be a lot more exciting, and we got our fireworks in the first half, and then second half was just a lot of kicking the ball around the midfield and not much action to speak of, and it finished as such as a 1-1 draw.
All right, Goran, you're going to be looking at the UEFA Nations League for tomorrow as we got Portugal and France. This one will be starting about 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. Watch it over on ESPN Plus. So people out in the States, it'll be beyond a reasonable hour for you to watch it. So why don't you give us your spiel on this game? This was your show pick.
Yeah, we are getting the last 2 games of the group stage of the Nations League this weekend and next week as well. Excuse me. And I'm taking over in this game because I know that 4 of the last 5 games between these 2 teams have ended in less than 2.5 goals. The last game ended in 0-0, which was huge disappointment, but both teams have a lot of good players in a good goal-scoring form at the moment. Even Cristiano Ronaldo scored 4 goals in 4 games after his return from the quarantine. Diogo Jota is scoring for Liverpool. João Felix is scoring for Atletico Madrid. And, of course, France has Mbappe and Griezmann. They're always in the mood to score 8 goals. And I'll give it a shot at goals for nice plus odds and see what happens.
All right, that's Goran here coming in with his pick from this one, looking at the over at plus 120. It's Portugal and France over 2.5. Chris, did you look at this game? If you did, what'd you think?
Oh, I did, and I think it's one of the harder games on the board for for a good reason. I mean, these Nations League games, they group the best teams with the best, and yeah, the trouble that I have with the over in this spot is that the last two meetings that they've had across any sort of significant competition have been goalless draws. But I think I'm inclined to agree with Goran here. I'm at least going with the over 1.5. I think we at least see a couple of goals in this game. I think that France is going to want to come out, have get the bad taste out of their mouth after even in a friendly loss, a loss to Finland in a game that by all accounts France should have won probably handily. And Portugal destroyed Andorra 7-0. They've been scoring goals for fun as well. So I you know what, thinking about it now, I can be on the same side. I can be on over 2.5. Maybe even parlay that up with both teams to score. I could easily see a 2-1 or even a 2-2 game here at the end of it. I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining games on the board for sure. And I think we definitely have something here.
Okay, we got Goran's pick on this one. And Goran, any of the other games you're looking here for this weekend, UEFA Nations League?
Yeah, the first game I had to look at, it's actually starting in about 15 minutes. It's South American World Cup qualification, yes. Brazil versus Venezuela. And I would take Brazil and over 2.5 here any day of the week because Venezuela is one of the weakest teams in South America. And even though Brazil will be without Neymar in this game, they still have a lot of firepower to score at least 2 or 3 goals in this match for sure.
Yeah, no question. I know that the CONMEBOL qualifying in the South America, the South American nations here and countries, it's really, really intense. And they're a good one to catch there. 7:30 Eastern time. Brazil and Venezuela and Uruguay beat Colombia 3-0 in the game today, and one in progress is Peru and Chile. Chris, any other games you're looking for at this weekend?
Again, twisting the knife because I got that Uruguay game wrong this morning, but that's all right. That's okay. There's the rest of the night to get through, and then we're on to soccer tomorrow. But you know what? No, I was at a lot of stuff for tomorrow. There's maybe they're not countries that you're not familiar with that you probably can't find on a map, but there are countries here that there's lots of value with certain games. Like, I guarantee you, people are going to think that I'm just pulling this game out of my butt. Latvia and the Faroe Islands to draw tomorrow. I'm telling you, there have been a ton of these two teams that played each other the last 5 times. I think there have been 4 ties. These two teams just like to play boring soccer. They like to cancel each other out. So I think there's going to be a value with the draw there. And I definitely think that I think there's going to be some value maybe taking a draw between Italy and Poland, I believe.
Oh, it looks like we had Chris Ruffalo drop off there, but Goran, as he was going through his games, we've passed the top of the hour, so why don't you let everybody know what you have going on at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, I have a season pack on which you get every single pick I make on a soccer. That's a lot of picks, hundreds and hundreds of picks. And of course, there's a daily pick for tomorrow up already for the Nations League soccer games.
All right. I don't know. I don't think you had anything to do with that disconnect there, Goran, just for the record out there. All right. So anyone wants to say anything?
I don't know. We'll see later.
We'll see later. All right, Goran. I want to pick up one of his all-season passes over at Pick Dawgz Premium and get on board. Of course, we follow Goran all the time. We'll let everybody know about Sports Chat Plays because you put a lot of the content up there because there's soccer about 7 days a week up there.
Yeah, there are some free articles up there already for today and for tomorrow as well, and coming up for Sunday and the next week as well. And then again, we are back to the leagues next weekend. We have EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga, and so on and so on.
All right, Goran, always look forward to the same and always a fun one here, guys. All right, Goran, as always, great having you on the show. Have yourself a great night, and we will talk with you next week.
Thanks, guys. You too. Enjoy.
All right, everybody. Goran here on the drive-thru. We got Chris back, and Goran told us that he had nothing to do with you getting knocked off the air. He had nothing to do with it.
Remind me never to piss off anybody from Latvia or the Faroe Islands ever again. Holy. Jeez.
All right.
You say one thing about how two teams like to play to finish their games in ties whenever they play each other. I got the disconnect. So
Yeah, she did. I just want to update you on that Cal UCLA game on Sunday. Can you believe it? They're going to play at noon Eastern time. It'll be a 9 a.m. local start for UCLA and Cal on Sunday morning there. Before the NFL kicks off, might be a smart thing there, Chris.
well, they've already done it once with Arizona State and USC, and that was one of the best games I think of the day on Saturday. So maybe they're onto something. Maybe you get these guys up at 5 in the morning, and then all of a sudden after a nice football game on Sunday afternoon, you get to sit back and watch the NFL the rest of the day. Yeah, don't have to worry about playing for another 6 days as long as nobody else gets COVID.
That's right. Joe, having to play football at 9 a.m., And they got to practice that early anyway. We saw Arizona State almost pull off the upset of USC last week, Joe.
Absolutely. It's just they're giving us a lot of options. I don't look at it as we're losing games. We're gaining, new options. It's great. Obviously, we've had, I believe, don't call me, 11 games that were either canceled or postponed on this week, but at least we're coming up with new options. We have a Sunday game. We have games going off 9 a.m. Listen, Tony, we're in new territory this season, this year, with sports, with everything in this country. And I think as this country is the greatest country on the planet, we've adapted, we've overcame, and we are going to move forward. But in college sports right now, we got to keep our youth healthy, and we are doing what's best for our youth. But I think we're doing the best we can. And you know what? I'm very excited about this. We got a Sunday game. We got a Saturday at 9 a.m. game packed up. Well, it doesn't get better than this, Tony. It just doesn't get better than this. This is college football at its best. This is sports betting at its best, guys. It doesn't. Wake up, have some Cheerios, and watch college football.
Absolutely, guys. That's Joe D'Amico and Chris Ruffalo here on the Drive Thru. Guys, remember, we're here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time here on Pick Dawgz and Sports Chat Plays YouTube channel and throughout social media network. All right, now it's time to recap the picks of the day. All right, we start off with Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy says take Denver Broncos plus the 4 against the Raiders. Joe D'Amico, I like this play a lot. Georgia Southern minus 10 against Texas State. Ron Zawacki, Washington State plus the 10.5 against Oregon. Brian Bittler was on East Carolina plus the 27.5 against Cincinnati. Jeff Jeter, NC State minus the 10.5 against Florida State. Goran, we're going into European soccer. Portugal, France to go over total of 2.5 goals at plus 120. Yours truly was an FIU plus 9.5. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Chris. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
I got to be on board with Joe D'Amico here. I got Georgia Southern minus 10. I'm really liking that game against pitiful Texas State defense.
I'm with you there. All right, Joe, other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
I'm going to go with that other handsome Joe Duffy. I like the Broncos. I honestly think that they have what it takes to upend the Raiders outright, but I'll take 4 points, bringing the Raiders back down to earth with the tough Denver date.
All right, there you go with our recaps. And, of course, it's Friday night, so I always got to ask Joe, what's for dinner, right? What's for dinner?
Well,
Vegas,
Tony,
what do you got?
Tony, it's been an exciting week. Earlier this week, I got a call from a dear friend of mine, 30 years. You may have heard of him. We call him Mr. Las Vegas, Wayne Newton. Gave me a call, said, please come see my new movie. We went to the premiere last night, sitting with Wayne, sitting with a dear friend of mine, boxing champ, Jesse Vargas. After the show, where do we go? We go hang out with 2 of my closest friends in the world, strip headliners, Murray the Magician and Chris Zoe Bowie Phillips. We're all going tomorrow night to see Fantasy, the 20-year hit show at the Luxor. It's a topless show. We've got a lot of friends in the show. As a matter of fact, Murray has a cameo in it. Then we're all going over to the Palazzo at the Venetian to go to 32 Mott. It is a great Asian cuisine restaurant. Guys, they have a 42-day aged applewood roasted Peking duck that is to die for. Got to order it beforehand. We're all going to go see Fantasy together, have some fun, go over at 32 Mott, probably wind up in jail before the night is out, guys. It's going to be a great weekend.
So for that topless show, you got front row seats?
Absolutely.
Oh!
Although my wife will be with me, but I'm sure that, I got to just watch it like that. Well, my wife's coming with me. We have a lot of friends that are in the show. Murray, my friend Murray the Magician, who headlines over to Tropicana. He actually is the house MC and comedian on that show. And his live-in love, who is I don't say the lead, but the MC of the long-running show, Crazy Girls, is in this show this week in Fantasy. We're very excited. It's just, Vegas is just, we're heating back up. The shows are coming back. We were at David Copperfield last week. Shows are coming back. We are very excited. They just announced a dear friend of mine, Zoe Bowie. His real name is Chris Phillips, one of the greatest entertainers to ever don a Vegas stage. He's going to be headlining Fremont Street, New Year's Eve. You can't keep Vegas down. It just gets better and better. But we're very excited. The shows are opening back up, Tony and Chris, and Vegas Strip. Listen, a nuclear bomb could come. Vegas will still be here. And I want to tell you, shows, restaurants, great weather, great shopping, day and nightclubs. And, of course, we got a little thing called gambling. Come on down, everybody, to the entertainment and gambling mecca of the world. Chris, I want to see you here before college basketball starts.
That's right. All right, Joe D'Amico. All right, Chris. All right, it's Friday night. We got to ask you the question. What's for dinner?
I still laughed when I heard Joe say Peking duck. Sorry, I'm a child. I gotta tell Joe to bring the eye patch to that show. By the way, you might need it afterwards. Oh man, I don't know what's for dinner. To tell you the truth, I'm actually at my parents' house right now, just helping out with a couple things this afternoon. So I gotta drive back to the wife tonight, but I might pick something up on the way home. It might be a fast food kind of night. There's a really nice Greek place by the airport that I pass on the way out to the boonies to stay at the other house. So, but I think it's a souvlaki.
If I may, excuse me, I'm sorry. You said it's by the airport. If I may, instead of going to the Greek place, make the left, go to the airport, jump on a damn plane. You could come have a 42-day roasted Peking duck tomorrow night with me. You can explain to your wife that you're at the topless show I'm with Joe D'Amico. What? It's innocent. We'll be fine. Jump on a plane. Listen, you just said you're going past the airport. Come on to Vegas.
She'll be mad that I didn't bring her. She knows I have a credit card that gets me but she knows I have a credit card that gets me like a $99 companion flight. I don't want to bring her. She's got work to do the rest of the week.
Chris, you know that Tony got us arrested the last time he came out here. He got us arrested. And it was a holiday weekend. We were in the drunk tank for 3 days.
That doesn't surprise me with this guy.
Oh my God, he's a party animal. He's worse than me. Oh my goodness. No, I'm just kidding.
Tony almost got me arrested, and we were on the air.
Oh. All right, guys, another weekend in the books here at the drive-thru. We found out what's for dinner. And guys, let's make some money this weekend. Let's go ahead and bring on the pick crew. Is that Brian Bittler again hiding behind his fingers? That is Brian Bittler. All right, guys, let's wave to everyone. And don't forget to pick right behind me the Birdcage is UFC from Rod Zawacki. So check that one out. Nice one. Plus 1185 there. So check it out there. Right there, right below my square here on the Pig Dog screen. All right, guys, as always, great. Thank you for joining the show. We'll give you a wave goodbye, and we'll see you all next Monday